Yeah. Okay, ready? We'll bow in and then we'll. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Everybody got their own spot, right? Yeah, you're always there. Phil's always standing there. Okay, ready? First exercise. Turning. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. To the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands on the waist. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center cross. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, hands on your waist. Neck turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, rotating now. 1, reverse, 1, 2, and back to center. Hands up, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, spread your feet, turn your shoulders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and stop. Okay, stretch it out. Switch. 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 Straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 Center. yep, the stretching. If you could actually stand up if you're holding the low position too long. If okay, shake it out. Deep breathing, hands up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, shoulder roll. And reverse. And center. Okay, press, release, exhale, inhale. And stop. Hands up. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, wrists. Okay, reverse. down, bigger circle. And center. Okay, shake it out. Shift your weight. And center. Okay, shift and lift. Okay, center. It's right foot forward. I'm going to insert the needle. So opposite hand goes up with the knee. Okay, switch other side. And center. Okay. I'm going to swing the arms, get the leg, right leg going in. And center. Okay, switch. Side to side. shake it out. Keep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, silk grilling. Hands like this, and we'll go forward and back. Switch. And center. Cross the arms. Right foot forward, open and close. Relax the shoulders. Sink the elbow, relax the shoulders. Switch. So we have a left foot forward. Most of the weight is on the right leg. So if you pick up your left leg, you know if your weight is on your right leg. Then you just touch down lightly with the front foot. So, okay. So this exercise, just so you strive for that. This is a empty stance. So empty stance means the front leg is empty of weight. So it's in the light position that if you're learning the kicks, this is your position for the kick when you lift your knee. So when you're sitting in this supporting leg, that controls the up and down movement. And when you sink, you don't actually put any more weight on it. When you touch down, you don't go forward and lean. You just lift and rise. So what happens is the front foot actually becomes up and down movement as a function of the supporting leg. So that's kind of a passive action. At the same time, you're building some strength and stability, and when you're doing this, your hips actually are relaxed and they open and they close, and you turn and rise and you sink and you fall. Okay? So rising, falling, sinking, those are just terms used to describe the direction of movement. Right. So next move, yeah, you have a question, Otis? No. So next movement, we're going to square up the feet, circular movements. Okay, low hoop. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Okay, lower, palms down. fingertips down, extend, straighten the back, lift the spine. Okay, deep breathing, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, part the horse's mane, or diagonal flying. Switch. Okay, center. Cloud hands. Okay, palms down. Lower hoop, lift up, carry tiger to the mountain. infinity sign. And form the fists. Palms together, strum the lute. Turn, draw the bow. Fan through the back. Okay, raise the hand. palms down, deep breathing. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, so we'll can shift around a little bit, and maybe Monty, you want to go in the other room? Paul, you want to go in the other room? You can go in the other room and work on, some of the either the exercises or some of the postures. Yeah. All right. So we'll go through short form. We can step up a little. Anyways, so how many people have gotten their second shot? Just so we know, second shot, first shot. No, Irina, second. You had one. 1, 2. None. 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1. You got 2, 1. Oh, you got 1. Oh, yeah, no, because you got the J and J. Yeah. Oh, and I got 2. Oh, yeah, we're above the national average in vaccines, so it's pretty safe, basically. If you've been vaccinated, they even say that you don't have to wear masks, but we wear masks because some people are not vaccinated, and it's really the mask is to prevent you from spreading it, not so much that there's a little bit of prevention there, but it's not as much as keeping you from spreading it. So we've already been vaccinated twice. We're probably not spreaders, so we don't have to worry as much about it, because I know a lot of people are still involved. So if you got the Pfizer shot, did you know in a year you're supposed to get a third one? Anybody heard that? Yeah. So that would be a year from now. You would have to get that third shot. Whatever. I don't know. I haven't got any response from either one of them. I got the Pfizer. So, anyways, ready? Preparation. Raise the hand, bend from the waist, stalk flaps wings, relax. So the hand shouldn't be so close, should be about forehead width, or your wrist would be approximately where your shoulder is. Turn, brush knee 4 times. Close the door, form the fists, divert, block and punch, palms back to neutral, fist on the elbow. Repulse the monkey. repulse the monkey. Insert the needle, fan to the back, turn, stroke down, parry and punch, step up, divert, block and punch. Leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Bring your hands down, turn, lift up, cross your arms, raise the hand, bend from the waist, stalk flaps wings, toe heel pivot turn, left side grasp the sparrow's tail. Left side single whip. Hold and reverse the ball. Sit back, stroke down, pot the horse's mane. Step up, stroke down, pot the horse's mane. Cross corner, Jade Lady work shuttle, cross corner, cloud hands, okay, deep breathing, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, we'll go through the long form. We can kind of, everyone knows this. Phil, you're up past the kicks. You do the kicks, and then near the end it gets a little rough, right? With the long form, are you okay with it? We'll follow along. Okay. Okay. All right. So we just we'll do some of the review with the kicks like we've been doing the other day. We only got to the second kick, so. Same as the short form Tai Chi Paradigm, we do the obliques. sticks out tongue, and downward posture. So this is really the only different posture in this section. Do we do the big repeat? deep breathing. So before we maybe have Eric work with you on a little bit of sequence on either the kicks, maybe downward posture as a posture, and then that's probably as much as you probably get to. Let's just do a little of the footwork that we have in the different new sections of the form. So one of the things that a lot of people have trouble is the 360 pedal step, or maybe doing the 180 turn, and then we have the cross step pivots in the Jade Lady Work Shuttle. So those usually are pretty tricky for most people. If you just go through a sequence, you actually don't get to learn how to do the footwork. So just going down to real basics, when we do the obliques, and that's the sections that you make all those 180-degree turns, in the square position, when we turn like this and we face this way, to get to the other side, you have to pivot on the heel enough so that when you face the opposite direction, you'll have a pretty good position that's completely mirror image to it. So whatever foot you have here forward, you're going to end up on the opposite side with the opposite foot forward. So that's 180-degree turn always puts you in the opposite stance. Okay. So then that pivoting that we have, this is pivoting this way and then pivoting this way. That kind of comes into play when we do those Jade Lady Work Shuttle movements after part the horse's mane. So when we're in the part the horse's mane position and we sit back, you cross over. So the important thing is to keep your weight on the supporting leg. That's why we call it the supporting substantial leg, and then we shift as we move up. So that's the first step. It happens in the Tai Chi Paradigm as well. You first make your first step, and then you step up, and we do a Jade Lady Work Shuttle. The next movement, when we sit back, this front foot should turn 90 degrees. So we should have our left foot forward. We sit back, and the front foot should turn 90 degrees. So that's a pretty big hip maneuver. So that's why we do a bit of stretching, but the hips, if you can, you're in this position, so we want this foot to turn 90 degrees. When we shift the weight, this foot spins all the way to the corner we're going to be hitting. Then we shift the weight, and then we cross like this, and then like this. So that's how we get there. But the important thing is when we make our shifts and turns, that we're always controlling what we call the substantial leg, and then the insubstantial is the one that you pivot. And once you get in position and put weight over this foot, you have to control that next step. Once you get your weight here, you can walk into that corner. So why it's important to get the 90-degree corner is because if you don't get it to there, you're going to have trouble getting over there. So if you can, get your foot over to this position. But the 90-degree pivot is not just happening. It's both joints are kind of supplementing each other, allowing you to create that full pivot. So you have to relax both hips, and both hips are going through this type of a thing. Now when you pivot and turn, if you sink in your stance, you're going to be much more stable. And then when you shift to here, this foot actually points to that mirror. That puts it into a 90-degree wall, and 90 to there gives you 45 here. And that's where you would do the Jade Lady Work. It happens on both sides. If you can, memorize and remember that there's 2 heel pivots and 2 steps, then that's what you practice, just the footwork. Then you combine it with the hand movements. We already know the Jade Lady Work Shuttle. So the other movement that we have a lot of pivoting is after that crescent kick, we end up crossing like this. So this cross stance is what we spin off of. So here again, when we cross over, if your feet are too close, you're not going to make your pivots. And if your feet are spread out, you're not very stable. So to compensate for the instability, you bend your knees, and then it allows you to have some flexibility in the hips to rotate around and to end up here. Okay, so there's only 2 pivots actually to jaw all the way around, and that's really from, say, this position. If you turn this to here, so that I added that other pivot just to make it a little bit easier, because if you're here and you did your potting, when you go to here you pivot on the ball of the foot and then it continues around. So in slow motion it's pretty hard to do because you're really trying to get the joint to relax. So when you cross over, when you start to open, you're already initiating the movement, letting the hips kind of flare out. So if your hips are kind of tight and it's not used to doing that, then this is what you would do. You put your hands on your hips and you turn in each direction, but you see each knee is kind of complementing each other in the turn. Because if you do one-dimensional movement in those type of three-dimensional actions, you're going to have trouble because of the inability to isolate the joint and control it without tensing. So, that's always going to be something that you have to play around with until, you free up, so it's still a motor skill. You're still working your hips. And when we turn in and out and in and out, that's what's happening in the joint. At the same time, because we sink in this stance, we get into sort of a comfort level where your joints are actually being coordinated and you build that relationship. Now when you twist, you want your spine to be as straight as possible, because it goes back to that same concept of that spine going to the heel of the supporting leg. So if you don't have your spine in that position and you're tilting, your spine is still over there, but it's in the wrong plane of motion. So your spine has to be vertically plumb in that coccyx area. The low near the tailbone has to be not tipping out. So those are a couple of things that you can work on for for those pivoting type things. So then if you want, Eric, you want to work with maybe Phil? You want to work on? We broke down the kicks, but just sequentially, they can do that. And then, did you want to work on a piece of sequence? So Eric will work on just like don't have to do old sequences, just like the kick sequence if they can get through that, and maybe just the downward posture to identify the downward posture. So identifying the posture is good. Do you want to do that, Otis, or you want to stay here? We're just gonna want to review anything? Yeah, you can do it in that corner if you want. We can shift this way a little bit. So then we're gonna. So we're just gonna try to understand why moving our joints are so important and which joint is critical in helping you relax your movement. Your elbow is something I talk about, right? The elbow dictates direction of movement. So the elbow also dictates rigidity in your arm. So because your arm, when it's extended and it's rigid, this becomes from here to here one solid piece. You can still move your hand with a stiff arm, but with a stiff arm you can't drop your shoulder unless it's already in a position. So if I make my hands rigid like this, I move my fingers, it can do that, but I really can't do anything else because this creates that rigidity. So the rigidity of your movements comes from locking this, but this group of muscles is tied to the two joints. But if it's rigid like this, how do I still move my hand? Because the forearm controls the digits in your hand, and then your wrist is controlled by the two bones here. So you can turn it from here with a stiff elbow, but when you turn it from here with a stiff elbow, it's really rotating in your shoulder. So it's not till you release your tension elbow. So it's like, opposites. You take a piece of paper, you flatten it out, right? So what's the opposite of flattening out a piece of paper? You fold, right? So if you straighten your knees or you straighten your elbows, what's the opposite of that? Is to bend. So if this is flat and folding, then you have to learn to release the tension in your joints. Now folding is like a hinge. A hinge only works in one dimension. What's a multi-dimensional movement? Then you have to add something to it. Now you wouldn't put a multi-dimensional movement in a hinge on a door because the door would never close right. But in the body, because we're dealing with movement, your hinge action has to be tied to other joints that allows maneuverability and spatial movements that require that. So what are some of the things that happen at the elbow? Well, they twist, they fold, and because of that function, it allows you to sink your elbow and relax your shoulder. So in Tai Chi, the idea of sinking your elbow, relaxing the shoulders, it's throughout everything that you do, because right and left and vertical have to be tied together. Is an exchange between those two directions. So if I go horizontal, the only way I can go back is either like this, which is flat, or I have to go like this. So I create a downward and an upward movement because I manipulate my... So that's what the infinity sign is. If you can get that idea here, then when you go here and you come in and you come out, you have carry tiger to the mountain. And that's really just sink your elbow, relax the shoulder. If you're doing Kung Fu, you're doing martial arts, it's low, middle, and high. It's middle and low. And depending on whether you want your palm up or your palm down or your palm out or your palm in, your palm out or down, it varies based on these two bones. They're designed to allow you to flip your hand over. And flipping your hand over becomes increasing the ability to do certain things. Functionality is tied to that. So that's the upper body. The knees is the same thing. They bend and they fold. So the idea of bending and folding in the knees as a relationship with the elbows means that they have to work together as a relationship. So now right and left have to be working together as a relationship. Right and left have to be working as a relationship. Then your upper and the lower has to be working as a relationship. And that's tied through your torso. So when we turn, that's the other thing we have to really be more conscious of, is that when we turn, it's not turning just the hip. You're turning in your waist. That means, and this is something that I'd say probably even in this room, 80% of the people are not turning their waist. They're turning their hips. You think you're turning your body because you're moving your shoulders, but you're moving your shoulders not really without relaxing this. Because if you turn like this, then this part can or cannot move, depending on if you fix and isolate it. So the control factor of a motion is really depending on how you do it. So when you turn, it's happening here. And if it's happening here, it must be happening here. So that's something that you say, it doesn't matter how many sit-ups you do, your waist will not turn if you don't actively turn that waist, because those muscles are not programmed to do that. So it's like, you think of a puppet, right? A puppet with 1,000 strings. If you pull the wrong string, you're going to get the wrong part to move. Well, your muscles are made up of striations, and those are like those strings. So every time one of those striations contract, it creates an action. So if you're recruiting the wrong ones, you're going to not have the right action. So if your back is not being recruited into the movement, not in the same direction in a pair, but working like this, then you're not going to get a twist. Just like the thigh, if you don't work it to use the muscles that are across the thigh, and you're just bending, then you're not going to get a motion like that. So everything that we do actually is multi-dimensional and, has multi, groups of muscles working to create that action. So if I'm like this and I just bend, that's just one fold. But if you're like this and you bend and then you turn, that creates a different action. That creates a totally different use of the muscular strength. So while you're doing a squat, the stability and sustainability of that position, so you don't, hurt your knee or, hurt your back. You have to stay a certain vertical position. If you're turning and turning, those groups of muscles are working differently. That's a spiral in action. So we're in this position, although you're bending your knee, we're turning here. So that action is a combination of your ankle, your knee, and your hip. So when you're just folding, it's your knees and your hips as well, but the thing is, that's one dimension. So in Tai Chi, everything that we do actually has more dimension than just what the joint typically would be doing. So that's the action that we're missing in a lot of the things. So is it important? Only if you've been a long-term practitioner and you want to evolve beyond that, to take, the neuromuscular connections to a different level. Because, exercise, while on a physical level it's building muscles, on a wellness side of it and the neurological side of it, exercise is really for the brain. Because what you take in as information, you don't have to move, you just have to think and take it and absorb. So you can read a book and get lots of information. You can hear it, it doesn't mean it translates into anything in your body. What we do is actually take information and teach the body. So when you teach the body and the body feeds back information, you develop a totally different connection to the mind and body relationship. Because on this level, those little strings that I talked about in a puppet are controlled by a program with these little synapses, and those synapses are switches. So if you're using the wrong switches, you're going to have the wrong movement. That happens when people have, brain problems or neurological problems. What we're trying to do is take the movement and refine it, so each one of those switches, and you may have thousands and thousands of them working simultaneously to create a simple movement. If you can't get those things to work right, it's because the body totally doesn't know it, or you can't recruit it. And recruiting it is opening up the idea in your body, in your musculature, and everything that you're doing in movement. So when they say specificity of training, if you don't do the movement that requires that action, then you can't develop it. So, when we're in this position and we turn, this is where you begin to turn your waist. So I see a lot of times when we're doing this, we're going through the hand movement, but then when we turn, we're just kind of making a gross movement. But it's not controlled in a sense that we need to build that connection. See, so when we turn our body, a lot more things happen than just turning the waist and finding center. You have to relax your shoulder and sink your elbow. You have to relax your shoulder and sink your elbow, because the next movement, once we sink, becomes this, and then it becomes this, and then this movement, we turn from in grass the sparrow's tail. From this movement to the next movement, it's not the hand, it's the elbow. Because if you do this with just the hand, you can isolate the hand and this becomes broken or separated from your body. If you go like this, and then you move your elbow, then you move your shoulder. If you move your shoulder like this, then you can sink your elbow. So when I talk about sinking or relax the shoulder, it's up to you in some ways to work through it, to discover it. But most people don't discover it because they don't do it enough. And it's not a fault. It's because you have other things going on in your life. For someone like me, maybe there's nothing going on but doing this, right? No, but the thing is, if you learn it long enough, then you'll discover that. So when we do this, you don't have to practice it to discover it. I've already told you that this is what has to happen. It's up to you to try to get it to happen and implement it in the movement. Now, once we do this and it does this, it all happened up in the shoulder, right? So the only thing that you have to do is manipulate your hand, and because you're not committing to the motion with the hand totally with strength, then you're driving it from the body. And then when I sink, it's going to be close to the body, the way we talk about. Because movements should not be out there and you should not be reaching. So to refine the motion, you have to refine where the movements go and tie in the integration of the body. So all it is a circle. And while you're doing that, the hand, so we stand here, that's all we to create a better grasp the sparrow's tail movement. It's really creating this. Now at the same time, there's many more things that has to do with the hands, but the thing is, it's just at this point, it's just get this movement. Now don't tilt. Don't tilt. Keep the vertical spine. Come forward, back, turn, and push, and then you would be going into the next posture. So here, 1, 2, 3. So this is something that you have to work through that happens on your right and left side. Now you learn it today, you heard it today, and then it's up to you to work with it. But it doesn't mean the next new student that you work with is said, oh, this is what your shoulder should be doing. That doesn't happen, because if you've been doing this for 15 years and your shoulder hasn't moved, how do you expect someone to walk through the door and you say, let me move your shoulder? Anyways, we can bow.
Birthday today.
Oh, Bob? Bob who? Bob O'Brien turns 86 today. We went. I think we went to green tea when he turned 80. But the thing is,
that's right.
he survived green tea. So what can you say? So, on that note, we have plenty of wine over there if you want to start early. Anyways, okay. You guys want to sing? There's no cake, but you can sing. Okay, ready? I'll be the. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bobby. Happy birthday to you. Well, Otis turned a couple of weeks ago, 86. So. Oh. Couple of weeks, couple of months, All right, ready? All right. Good job, Bob. Oh, I should announce yours. Yeah, you just turned